Good morning, everybody. Good morning. I apologize, for yesterday. Like I said, I had the live scheduled for 9:45 a.m. Central Time. Well, I didn't know that it was going to take him till almost 3 in the afternoon to sentence Josh. But anyway, thanks for sticking around and hanging in there. At least we got through that. So let's see who's in here. By the way, this show is long overdue. Long overdue. I've discussed Delphi in Facebook groups, on the page, and everything like that. Haven't ever done a live before. With the new information that came out last week, like I said, long overdue. Long overdue. I think it's the only case where you can just say the name of the town and everybody knows what you're talking about. You just say Delphi, they know exactly that you're talking about Abby and Libby. It's disturbing. It's scary. I mean, crime's scary anyway, but we're so desensitized that we're just like, ooh, man, that's awful. This is scary. It's almost like a Hollywood script, but it's beyond real. So let's see who's in here. Good morning, Lone Wolf. Good morning, Preschool Granny. Ooly Girl. Aggie, good morning. Shannon, The Walking Dead. Hello. Hi, Diane Solomon. How are you? Let's see here. Alibis and Pretty Lies. She says, hey, Brooks, can't wait for this show. Yep, like I said, it's a long time overdue. Way overdue. Uli's getting ready to go to Florida. We're going to miss her. We're jealous. Hello, Anna. Hey, Real Amanda. Lisa Irwin, how are you, my friend? Juicy Tequila Bobo. I mean, at least we were all having fun in chat yesterday. Just talking, waiting on the sentence, but still it was annoying. Nellie, hello. Julie Leet, how are you doing, my friend? CNC, good morning. DT Driver, Fruit Loop, Eddie. Kamari, Mary, how is everyone doing? I hope I didn't miss anybody. I did. I missed Rhiannon Magoo and AP. I can't do that. So we'll let everybody get situated. I do see a couple of new names. Hit the sub button. Give it a like real quick. And get situated. Grab your coffee, grab your donut, grab your bagel, and we will get ready to go through this because might take a while because I'm going to start from the beginning. I'm not going to go through every person of interest that's been introduced since February of 2017. But the two main ones that are being talked about right now, we're going to talk about them. So I know we have several subs and members from Indiana, and I've talked back and forth with several of you about this case. Like I said, it's the only case that you can just say Delphi, and everyone knows. So I will put the link up, and you are more than welcome to come up and talk. In the year 2020. The population of Delphi, Indiana, was not even 3,000 people. So to have two persons of interest in that town, the top cop in Indiana said this person's hiding in plain sight. And what happened to these girls in broad daylight in an area where people hike and jog, take pictures. It was a warm winter day, like when you get just a teaser of spring, in January or February, that's how it was going. It's crazy to me. Crazy. Especially since early on, we had a picture of the suspect. We've heard the audio, which is extremely chilling. It was down the hill, and then it was guys down the hill. They added the word guys. Not that he was talking to anybody except Abby and Libby. That's just what he said, guys down the hill. There's so many questions how the girls were coerced or tricked. There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on. We're going to try to get through it. I put the trigger warning up for a reason, because what happened to these girls is horrific. It's horrific. And we don't even have any details about the actual murder. That's another thing. Investigators have said they are keeping that very tight to their vest because only the murderer would know what happened. So there's no details about what happened to them. Let's bring up our friend Susan. Good morning, Susan.
Good morning. Hello, everybody.
Seems everybody's pretty wide awake. Now, you've been following this case since 2017, off and on, like many of us.
Yeah,
It seems now we're down to 2 suspects. So I'm going to put a couple pictures up, then we're going to talk about the case and get to some clips because y'all know how I do with the clips. So this is the bridge that the girls were on. Now, that would scare me to death. Okay, I'm just going to say right now. I'm not scared of heights. I'm scared of falling from them. So this is where, on that warm day in February 2017, they were taking pictures. There were some pictures taken on Snapchat. Of course, the video was taken by Libby of this man that approached them. I wonder how she could do that so secretly without him knowing. It was said later that the suspect took souvenirs from the scene, but left her with his phone. Do you find that odd, Susan?
I do find that odd, unless he didn't know it was there, because she was taking him walking across the bridge. He may have left it on and put it in her pocket.
Mm-hmm.
So it may have recorded the whole thing.
Okay. And that is
Bridge
one
guy.
of the stills that they got from the video.
They call him Bridge Guy.
Bridge guy. That's the name given. Like I said, very early on when this came out, I'm like, well, this is a slam dunk. Hell, they got video of the guy. This is better than CCTV or anything. You know, you see the victim walking out of the restaurant or out of the hotel. I'm like, they've got the guy.
And he's pretty familiar with that, the area and walking across the bridge, because he's not stopping to look down and place his steps just right.
Mm-hmm. And of course, there's many, many, many things that have not been released. Mm-hmm. I know in one interview I was reading, one of the state troopers said the video is actually 43 seconds. They only released that clip of him saying down the hill. Then later they added the guys to it. So then the later one said guys down the hill.
Yeah, I don't know why they did that.
I don't know. I mean, something creeped them out about him because Libby started videoing him.
Mm-hmm.
This wasn't put on Snapchat or anything like that, but she was taping him. I mean, it's all going to come out. What they know, we will know eventually. And it seems like, they've got their sights set on yet someone else.
Yeah. And he seems like the best suspect, in my opinion.
The new guy. Yeah. The new guy. All right. So there was we're going to get to him. Don't you worry. So there was no school on February 13th, 2017. At 1:30, Abby and Libby, they wanted to go to the trail. They like to hike and stuff like that. It was a warm day. So Kelsey, who is Libby's older sister, she had to go to work, and on the way, she dropped them off. The plan was for Libby's father to come pick them up later in the day. Around 2:00, Libby posted a photo of Abby walking the bridge. But after that, nobody heard from them. There was nothing else on social media. There's no context, anything. Mm-hmm. Libby's dad got there a little bit after 3 o'clock and couldn't get her to answer. So around 5:30 is when they were reported missing. Now, the next day they were found, and we know that when they were found on Valentine's Day of 2017, they were deceased, murdered.
Yeah.
Murdered. So I'm going to go to one of the very first clips. This is from 2017. Hang on one second.
Roofers are furious about this new product that's going viral. Replace your whole roof in as little as 8 hours.
This is breaking news from Channel 13 Eyewitness.
We have nobody in custody at this time. So as far as I'm concerned, yes, there is somebody out there that did this horrendous crime, and we're going to track them down.
That's state police talking about the fear and concern in a small town community after they announced that 2 missing girls were in fact victims of murder.
Investigators solemnly identified the 2 bodies found in Carroll County as 13-year-olds Libby German and Abby Williams. Now, we still don't know what happened to them after they disappeared during an afternoon hiking trip.
Eyewitness News reporter Rich Van Wyk begins our team coverage tonight, first with an update on the investigation. Rich?
Anne Marie, the autopsies confirmed identities, but how these children were killed, the circumstances surrounding their death, police aren't talking about that. They say they don't want to say anything that could jeopardize this double homicide investigation. For the second day, local, state, and federal investigators scoured over the crime scene. Early afternoon, divers joined the search for clues that could lead detectives to the girl's killer. The autopsies confirmed what everyone, including the teens' families, suspected and feared.
I think they were in pretty much belief that it was their children. But when you hear it from an official, it's still a little still it hits home twice.
One of the hundreds of volunteer searchers found the bodies of Libby German and Abby Williams in a wooded area near Deer Creek. It is an area accessible only by foot or on horse. Well off the popular trails the 13-year-olds were hiking. Dozens of police are now checking hundreds of leads.
We are using resources from all the way from Lowell, Fort Wayne, and the southern part of the state's police, state troopers. We will stay on the job until it is done.
Police say they have no suspects or persons of interest. They're asking anyone who was in the hiking area, who saw something or heard something or took any pictures, contact them.
Should people in this community be concerned about someone running around targeting kids?
My response is no. I feel safe for this community.
Libby and Abby, teens teachers describe as happy and go lucky, attended Delphi's middle school. These teams were ready for students and teachers when they arrived at all the district schools.
They're just asking those questions right now of, oh my gosh, it hit me. And somebody's there for them.
The double homicide has prompted one of the largest investigations some officers say they've ever been part of.
So as far as I'm concerned, yes, there is somebody out there that did this horrendous crime, and we're going to track them down.
Also, police say there is someone out there who probably saw something, was on the trails, was driving that part of the country just east of Delphi. They may have seen someone. They may have seen a car that perhaps looked out of place. And that's why police want that person to call them. Back to you.
Little did they know at this point, though, that Libby had taken a video of the man that came across them. So they didn't know that then.
They didn't release that for a long time.
It was a while. So you have one officer saying, oh, there's someone in the community that's done something. And they were always poignant about that. It's someone from around there.
Yep.
They never believed it was a drifter or anything like that. Maybe because of where the girls were found, it would have to be a local. I don't know.
Well, it's kind of out of the way. I don't know that there's a big population of homeless there.
Right. Yeah. Or that they have drifters that come through. Like I said, in the year 2020, their population in Delphi, Indiana wasn't even 3,000.
A small community. And everybody came out to look.
Oh, yeah. Anna said, Doug Carter stated, "You want to know what we know, and one day you will. Who moved into a position to gain access to info?" I saw that interview. When he speaks to the press, he's very firm with, "I'm not going to discuss any evidence with you." Because what they're saying is what was done, only the person that did it would know. So there's too many things that they will not release. I think considering what happened, they've been very forthcoming.
I'll agree to disagree there. If they would have put out that video beforehand, I think they could have been solved a little better, quicker.
Yeah, I think so. I plead the fifth. You're exactly right. No one would have known the trails like that unless they'd been there.
Yep.
It wasn't like a happenstance. That's why, like I said, top cop in Indiana said, this man is hiding in plain sight. There was people looking around the room when they announced the sketch, like, hell, this guy could be in the room. You know?
Yeah.
I plead the fifth said the evidence has already gotten out, though Delphi is a very small town and everyone talks. And I have a feeling that in the last 5 years, not a day goes by that this is not discussed. I have a feeling. All right, so let's go through. This is the clip from Libby's phone. It scares me to death. It scares me to death. The first time I saw it, I got the creeps.
Mm-hmm. Especially when you know what happened.
Yeah. Yeah. In hindsight, you're like, whoa, this poor girl is taking this video and doesn't even know what's going to happen. And it's in a short period of time. Kelsey drops him off around 1:30. Libby's dad is there to pick him up a little after 3.
Broad daylight. Everybody's out at the park because it's a nice day.
Yep. Broad daylight. Broad daylight. So it's very brazen and it just seems so random.
I don't know.
Shannon said he has a certain walk. You hear his voice, so proud that Libby did this. Me too. I bet they were terrified. That's what makes me so sad. Oh, you know they were.
She was the hero.
Definitely.
If it's solved, it's due to her.
I agree. All right, so this was what was taped on Libby's phone. All right, that's enough of that. I just couldn't imagine being their age. You're just out hiking, taking pictures, having a fun day. Other people are out. And this guy comes up and tells you, go down the hill. Guys, down the hill. It's not even really so much of a command. Guys, down the hill. So I'm wondering in this 43-second video, which is what they have said now. It's actually 43 seconds. What was said also in there?
Yeah.
What's down the hill? They're teenage girls. If they thought they were in danger, they would have ran the other way. They would have been screaming. They had phones. So what was he doing to get them down the hill?
I guess time will tell.
Oh, it will. It will, and I'm afraid to know, my friend. I'm afraid to know.
I just can't imagine her parents, their parents,
Mm-hmm.
living with us all these years.
Oop, I muted myself.
I was wondering
Yeah,
when you.
I know Libby and her older sister Kelsey, they live with their grandparents. And the grandparents, they have been on Dr. Phil, Dr. Oz, you name it, just like Abby's mom. And of course, the internet does what the internet does, and they've had a lot of haters. They've
Oh, yeah.
had a lot of people saying, well, you shouldn't ever let kids go hiking by themselves. Again, it's a community of not even 3,000 people, and they've been to these trails many, many times. So
Lots
they
of
have to
people
deal
do.
with that on top of everything else.
Like they don't carry enough guilt in their own minds. Come on, people. You're better than that.
Be better. I agree. All right. So I'm skipping around a little bit, but it might make sense. All right. So the next day is when they find the girls. Last week, information came out about the crime scene that had never been discussed before. Hold on.
Starts now.
We begin at 5 o'clock with stunning new revelations in the Delphi murders. It's a story we first broke for you on TV and online this morning.
iTeammate has obtained court documents that, for the first time, publicly describe the scene where those murders took place. What was taken from the scene and a potential early suspect in the case, iTeammate's Demi Johnson, has been following the story from day one. Demi, this document, very powerful.
Yeah, that's right, Phil and Alexis. It's this 9-page request for a search warrant filed March 17th of 2017. Now, that's a little more than a month after Libby German and Abby Williams were found murdered in Delphi. This disturbing document, for the first time, gives us an investigator's description of the crime scene and what the suspect may have taken with him.
iTeammate obtained the request for the search warrant from the Murder Sheet podcast, the same group that first published the interview transcript of Anthony Schott's suspect, Keegan Klein. iTeammate has confirmed the document is authentic. The document, written by an FBI agent, describes what investigators found when they discovered the bodies of Abby Williams and Libby German on February 14th. The agent writes, a large amount of blood was lost by the victims at the crime scene. Because of the nature of the victim's wounds, it is nearly certain the perpetrator of the crime would have gotten blood on his person or clothing. Authorities also found that 2 articles of clothing from one of the girls was missing from the crime scene, while the rest of their clothing was recovered. It also appeared the girls' bodies were moved and staged. The agent goes on to say, based upon my training and experience, it is common for perpetrators of this type of crime to take a souvenir or in some fashion memorialize the crime scene. The agent also references the video on.
Okay, let's talk about that. So he basically took, they say, a souvenir, like a trophy, something to remind himself of what happened that day. So I'm wondering if Ronald Logan's house was ever searched. I know that he got in trouble for a violation of probation, and he went to jail for a year. Also involved in this mix, who is very suspicious, is Keegan Klein. People point fingers at his father too. We're going to get to him next, and then we're going to get back. We're going to get to Ronald. Where's the clothing? What they took? Where's it at?
Yeah, I don't know.
On Libby's phone, confirming it was 43 seconds long. Up until now, only a few seconds have been made public. It's this short audio clip where you hear the suspect talking to the girls. The agent also confirms.
Okay, back to that. That is so creepy to hear this man say, guys, down the hill. You don't see him holding a gun. You don't see him holding a taser. He's looking at them and says, guys, down the hill. I want to know how this conversation started and how he coerced them down the hill. Zach Walker said, instead of a trophy, I wonder if he managed to get cut and his blood or DNA got on the article of clothing. That was removed, so he removed it. Who knows? That's a very
good point.
very good point. Wow. So they searched Ron Logan's house, but obviously his souvenir was gone.
He could have burned it.
Could have. Could have. But he leaves her with her phone.
We don't know that he found the phone. She may have dropped it along the way.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. I want to know where Libby's phone was. I've read and read and read. Was it still on her person? Did they ping it and found it somewhere in the woods? I don't know.
That's a good question.
The girls were being followed by the suspect on the Monon High Bridge Trail. The agent also says there were no visible signs of a struggle or fight. The search warrant is for the property of Ronald Logan, who owned the land where the two girls were found dead. You see him here in this video shot by Wish TV in 2017, just days after the girls were murdered. It describes his activity the day the girls went missing. The agent says Logan claimed someone drove him to an aquarium store in Lafayette on the afternoon of February 13th, at the time the girls disappeared. But the agent says these statements were found to be factually false and intentionally designed to deceive law enforcement officers. The agent says Logan contacted his cousin and asked him to tell that story before the bodies were found. Based on investigators' experience, it is reasonable to believe that the creation of an alibi prior to the discovery of a crime indicates culpability or knowledge of the crime.
Okay. And before I get to Keegan, because like I said, there's red flags and question marks all around these two. Keegan's dad, too.
Yeah.
Why would you need someone to lie about your whereabouts and your tropical fish on the day two innocent girls were found murdered on your property?
He could have said that he was driving because his license were suspended. Maybe he lied about that.
Well, they know they had him dead to nuts. He lied about what was going on that day. And a lot of people are saying, how could he take on two teenage girls? They're much faster than him. So is the reason this isn't so swift because other people are involved? I don't know. And the clip still, Mom to 4, you're right. That clip to this day still gives me chills. When I was on the trip with my husband, we were coming through Indiana. I saw the exit for Delphi. Immediately got chills. Immediately got chills. I plead the fifth. Said definitely believe he had a gun. In those documents said he kept a gun in a fanny pack. A lot of older men would do the same. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too.
I heard that too.
Because you said his girlfriend said he always had a fanny pack and kept a gun in it.
Yep. And she also said he punched her in the face and knocked her down. So he's got violence in his background.
Oh, yeah. I'm just still trying to figure out, and I'm not defending this guy by any means because we don't know. Nothing official's out. How can two young teenage girls not outrun a 77-year-old?
If he's got a gun on you.
But in the video, he's just got his hands in his pocket and he just says, guys down the hill. It doesn't seem to be any threat. It's almost like he was asking for their help with something. You know what I mean? That's what it seems like. Sky Purple said, RL is innocent. Follow the money. Just my opinion. Who do you think did it, Sky Purple? I'm very interested to know. That's why I love this chat and community, because we all discuss back and forth.
And what money?
I don't know. That's what I'm waiting to find out.
I asked the founders of the Murder Sheet podcast why they believe this new information is significant.
This is a situation where you've had a lot of, speculation or rumors going around that sounded pretty realistic, or perhaps, sounded like well thought out. But it's another thing to sort of see it just in black and white on a court document.
I feel it is really important to get actual court documents where people are actually have to swear an oath that what they're saying is actually true.
Now let's tell you a little bit more about Ronald Logan. It's important to note Logan is dead. He died in 2020. He was charged with a probation violation for driving with a suspended license. He was never formally named a suspect and never charged in the Delphi murders. But in this document, the FBI agent says Logan's voice is not inconsistent with that of the person in the video.
Okay, so they're saying that could very well be his voice.
Yeah.
It kind of looks like him. It kind of looks like him. Again, left with a lot of questions. How did he coerce them down the hill? What was the conversation prior to the clip we've heard? Of course, this is all speculation because they haven't released anything. Now I've got questions about what Sky Purple said. FSG wanted the trails fixed and wanted RL's property. Well, that's definitely interesting to know. Danielle said he died in 2022, not 2020. I've heard both dates too.
Yeah.
It can't be 2 different years. It can't be 2 different years. And what a bitch that's going to be if it's 100% him and only him. The family gets no justice.
Exactly.
Now, we showed you that video of Ronald Logan in this story, and in searching through our archives, I found this interview with him shortly after the girls were found. Here's what he told us about the day the girls went missing.
Monday afternoon, I was in Lafayette Aquarium World getting a tropical fish for my aquarium. So when I came home, one of the neighbors stopped and asked for permission to come back here and look for the missing girls, and that's the first time I knew anything about it. So I fooled with my tropical fish the whole time that the search was going on Monday night, but then they didn't find them until Tuesday at around noon or 1 or whatever it was.
Stunning new details, Demi. I know you reached out to the girls' family. They had no comment. But what about state police and the FBI?
So I did just receive a statement from State Police Superintendent Doug Carter. He tells me, I would like to remind the public that this is an active and ongoing investigation, and we will do everything we can to protect its integrity and to not try it in court of public opinion. We cannot publicly convict someone based on a single document which was not released by investigators. Our profession will not allow us to speak on what we think, but to always speak about what we know. This is especially important with the heinous murders of Abby and Libby. We must continue to be mindful of their surviving family members and the entire Carroll County community who are affected by this investigation. Now, the FBI also sent a statement saying it does not have any more details to share at this time.
Okay. You'll stay on top of it as you have been for the past few years. Demi, thank you very much. Ronald Logan. Yeah, he's now the second person that we know police searched and questioned in the case. Demi and I, teammate, first told you about another person, Keegan Klein, back in December of 2021. He's the man in jail right now accused of creating and using the Anthony Shots profile to get hundreds of sexual pictures and videos from underage girls. That's the same account state police said that they found while investigating the Delphi murders. Then in March, with the help of the Murder Sheet podcast, we were able to tell you about Klein's interview transcript with police. It revealed the Anthony Shots profile did communicate with the girls the day that they were killed. Now, if you missed any part of this story, we've posted the documents online at wishtv.com. Just grab your phone, scan the QR code on that screen. That will take you to our website, and click on the As Seen on Wish TV section.
Okay, crazy. As if there's not one weirdo in this. Now we have yet another. And in the last 5 years, there have been other persons of interest discussed. And I don't think that the man leading the investigation, I don't think Doug is happy about this being released. What do you think?
Didn't sound like it to me. I wonder who released it and why.
That's a convoluted story. Hang on. I plead the fifth, said I believe the cops have done everything they could do, but they just don't have enough. That's why they left Keegan and Tony out and put RL in jail again. It sounds like it. AP said, I think multiple people were involved, several to catfish and 1 to 2 to, yeah. Because they state in this document, this scene was staged. So for one, you have a heinous crime by let's say it's Ron, okay? Like I said, just this conversation. So on top of a heinous crime, then he moves the bodies. He moves Abby and Libby. That's going to take some muscles. That's going to take some strength. I think that's why this is not all sealed up.
Yeah, and he was 77.
Yeah.
So, he's very agile, though. Did you see him go up that hill?
Yeah, and also I want to know why he asked a family member to lie about the aquarium. Why do you need an alibi? Why?
I can't think but for one reason. Other than his license was suspended.
Well, I mean, even so, even if your license is suspended, who cares? That has nothing to do with this. You just say, yeah, I was at home. I didn't see anything, but I'll help you look. Go search my property.
Yeah.
I think the fifth said, no, it wasn't like he moved far. He dragged them to the tree. But still, wouldn't that take, a lot of energy and a lot of strength? And this is in a short period of time. They weren't reported missing till 5:30. The dad was there a little after 3, and all communication on the cell phone stopped a little after 2. This happened in a very short period of time.
It's crazy. Oh, I just can't wrap my mind around it.
Becca B says, don't mean to sound stupid. I'm not familiar with the case, but learning what does staging the scene mean? It was set up. So where the murders took place is not where they found the girls. And they were posed in a certain way. They were moved and set up. Alibis and Pretty Little Lies. This is what Susan was saying. Ron Logan's walk is just like that.
And he gets breathless after he talks and takes a deep breath. So he could have said, guys, down the hill.
Oh, good point. Good point. All right, so now let's get to another person, because all over social media, when Delphi is discussed, Keegan and his father come up. They don't say too much about his dad, but Keegan is always, to me, Keegan, okay, he's on the screen, does not look like this person. They have a totally different build.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
He's still very suspect, and he's in jail for nasty, nasty things. I think he's got like 30 felonies.
Sometimes I think they're outnumbering us. Nasty.
The more and more we do this show, it's starting to feel that way. Oh, this guy.
Disturbing new details within a recent set of transcripts tied to the Delphi murders. The documents revealing yet another investigation tied to a social media account that's believed to have interacted with Libby German and Abby Williams just before they were brutally murdered in a small Indiana town in 2017. And tonight, we've learned that another young girl may have talked with the person behind that same profile, only she lived to tell police her story. News Nation's Max Lewis has the latest.
According to the transcripts, a middle school age girl in Galveston, Indiana, messaged the Anthony Shots account that she wanted to hook up after school. She said her parents wouldn't be home and shared her address. A day later, when she got off the bus, she saw a man in a ski mask peering into her bedroom window.
It doesn't look to me like there's proof for sure that he was the person peeping through the windows.
Police can't prove it was Keegan Klein peeping into that window, and he denied doing it, according to the transcripts. However, investigators say data shows Klein searched members of that girl's family on Facebook the day before the peeping incident. All of this happened.
Now, come on. He was looking the family up on Facebook the day before. She sees a man peeping through her window.
Creepy. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure this one out.
No. Katrina said if he didn't do it, he knows who did. I agree. He knows too much. Plus, he had spoken to Libby, I know, but some people say he had spoken to both the girls. So hold on.
In just 3 days after Abby Williams and Libby German were murdered in Delphi.
When you're doing the investigation, again, you want the whole picture. You're finding the pieces of the puzzle that you fill in, and it slowly comes together into something that you can recognize.
Former FBI agent Doug Coons has not worked on this case, but has investigated many others. He says the transcripts have provided a lot of interesting but circumstantial information. While Keegan Klein and his father, Tony Klein, have been at the center of the Delphi investigation, Coons says the information found in these transcripts proves nothing.
All this stuff is great, but you still need that key piece that you take it to court, and then all that will matter.
Investigators eventually raided the Klein home in Peru nearly 2 weeks after the Delphi murders. That resulted in numerous child porn charges against Keegan Klein. Still, despite what transcripts show Keegan told a reporter, officials don't know if Tony Klein had access to that Anthony Schatz account.
That's what I want to know. They've got him on multiple felonies for CP. Now, it said over and over and over again, his dad's a pervert too.
Yes.
Again, I'm not saying that Keegan is, innocent as a newborn baby. He's up to bad stuff. I believe it was him at that house, peeping through the windows. I believe he set the account up to catfish these girls.
Oh, he did.
Oh, yeah.
Seems to me like there's a lot of pieces around the periphery, but they're still looking for that one that goes in the middle.
Anya Kane and Kevin Greenlee are the hosts of the Murder Sheet podcast, and they were the first to obtain these transcripts. They're both joining us live again tonight. Welcome back to both of you. So when you read these transcripts, what were your key takeaways?
It's such a horrifying transcript because it really ties this child sexual abuse materials case that Keegan Klein is facing to the Delphi murders. And it does that through the Anthony Schatz account that Keegan Klein sort of had access to. So for the first time, we're really seeing the link between this Anthony Schatz profile and the Delphi case that so many people are following and hoping for answers in.
But this is all circumstantial, right? If there was a smoking gun of hard evidence, wouldn't prosecutors have brought the charges?
They would. There's a very compelling web of circumstantial evidence, but we're still lacking that one piece of direct evidence that will put the phone in the hand of Keegan Klein or someone else that will prove that he was the one communicating with these girls and would prove beyond doubt that he was the one who arranged to meet with them that day.
So is he now trying to point the finger at his father?
That's a great question. His father does come up throughout this whole transcript, but I would say in the 2020 police interview, Keegan is very much not pointing the finger at his father. He's pointing the finger at a friend who he previously lived with. In the 2021 interview with the HLN reporter, he is more of wobbling on that. He might be saying,
well, criminals lie. So he's going to blame his friend, even though all the evidence was found at their house.
Yes.
Can't get away from that. You can't.
And what are the chances? What are the chances that he was contacting them and then somebody else did something to him? It's odd.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the dad kind of resembles the guy in the video. I mean, honestly.
Yeah.
It's scary as hell. You got a town of not even 3,000 people. Everybody knows everybody. And these two girls, and they know right from the get-go, this is a local. When I heard the detective say, this person is hiding in plain sight. And he was like looking around the room. I mean, his eyes were going everywhere. About jumped out of my skin. Brooke said, is there a possibility that they were planning to meet him there at the park? Yes, that has been discussed. Yep.
Well, my dad might have been capable of this, but I don't think he did it. So you see a bit of a wavering in terms of that.
And that he had access to it. He said, my father, yes, I believe he had access to the account, right?
Yes, he says that oftentimes he and his father would share devices and that he would help his father online because his dad was a little bit less tech savvy.
And this is the first time we may be learning of these transcripts, but there's no new information here that investigators don't know about. So is it possible that they already ruled out this lead?
As of December 2021, when the HLN interview took place, Keegan Klein was at least under the impression that authorities believed that he had something to do with the Delphi case and that his father may have had something to do with the Delphi case. So that's pretty recent. And sources that we have tell us that the Kleins remain the focus of this investigation at this point.
So is there any evidence that ties Klein to the person outside the girl's window? And even if it was him peeping into the house, does that mean that he's a murderer of these other girls?
Well, the closest thing to direct evidence that ties him to that incident is that earlier that day he had communicated with the girl who was the victim of that incident.
Exactly. He was researching the family. He had been talking to her online.
He may have had plans.
Uh-huh.
God.
May have had plans, exactly. And like she said, this is a short time. As of December, the father and son, now son's in jail, were the focus of this investigation. But now, like I said, we have Ron in here. We're going to get to Ron in a second.
Yeah.
Hang on. I plead the fifth said the cops took the dogs. Also, that's another thing that blows my mind. I wonder if there was also dog hair out there. Well, they talk about the DNA. They have DNA. So, you know, with Keegan in jail, they have all his cheek swabs and hair and everything. They obviously by now would have run that. So what DNA they've taken off the girls, who could it be? They would have Ron's because Ron's been in jail. Do you see where I'm going?
Yeah. We don't
had
know
gotten
what
her address. And then shortly after that is when this peeping Tom incident occurred. And it would seem to be pretty coincidental that someone just happened to go there to peep right after this person gave Tony Klein or Anthony Klein or Keegan Klein that address.
And basically what you're seeing is a pattern here, right? So when girls are communicating with this Anthony Schatz account, bad things are happening to them. And so police are going to be looking at who had access to that account.
Right. And are police any closer at this point to solving the murders of Abby and Livy? And have you learned anything new about the case since we spoke to you, aside from these transcripts?
Right. Yeah, we've been definitely continuing to follow up on the lead and speak to people who know the Kleins and know the family and are familiar with that. And I would say that we feel that the transcripts show that police are definitely on a certain path and seem to have an increasingly strong circumstantial case here. But I think time will tell how far along they are at this point.
Well, this is certainly a development that sheds light for all of us, and we appreciate your time tonight, Kevin, Anya. Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for watching.
Wow.
It's insane. It's insane. All right. So they're talking about, the DNA. In the paperwork, it said unknown fibers and unidentified hairs. So, like I said, you've got Keegan in jail. Ron's been in jail. They would have their DNA. I think that might be part of the problem why there's no arrest. You can be involved and not there. You could be the one that lured the girls out, because it seemed to be kind of a impromptu trip. They had been talking to him the day before, at least Libby, we know. Libby asked her older sister, can you drop us off at the trail? She did, of course, yeah, go ahead. They've been there a million times. I'll drop you off. Dad'll pick you up. Simple procedure. And, well, we know what happened.
Yeah.
So who else could have been there?
Yeah. They don't say what kind of DNA, though.
They said unknown fibers and unknown hair. Well, you got Keegan's hair. You've got Ron Logan's hair. Ron Logan was in jail. They're not going to just put him in jail for a year and not have a sample.
Yeah.
Who have they not gotten a sample of? Or because if they had found their DNA on them, I would think it would be moving a lot faster. Again, I don't have a badge, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Could it be dog hair?
Usually the labs can pick out really quick if it's animal hair.
Yeah.
But when it's unknown, inconsistent, and identified, they're looking for human. So maybe they can do one of the genealogy DNA tests, when they get into that database and find somebody. Not saying these people have been trying to find their ancestry, but someone else in their family could be.
That's true. It makes some sense, though. Because I really thought it would be Ron, but you're right. They would have gotten his DNA.
Yeah. All right. So from this sock account that Keegan made, the real man has come forward. He's actually a police officer in Alaska. This is the dangers of these sock accounts and people using other people's pictures. It is way more common than we think. I don't mean someone comes into your Facebook group and they got a sunflower on there, but when they're using other people's pictures, listen to what this has created for this man.
Probably seen these photos a lot recently. An update now. That fake social media profile shared by detectives investigating the murder of 2 young girls in Delphi. Well, now for the very first time, we're hearing from the man whose pictures were stolen and used by that Anthony Schatz profile. Our Jenny Runovich talked with the former model and now current police officer in Alaska, who frankly was pretty shocked to see his face connected to this investigation in Indiana.
Vincent Kowalski, a police officer in Alaska, found himself in the middle of a murder investigation here in Indiana this month. His photos when he was a model after high school, stolen and used, police say, by a man accused of catfishing young girls. The fake Anthony Schatz account also caught the attention of detectives investigating the Delphi murders. Kowalski says he found out about the investigation when an Instagram follower sent him a link to a press release with his face front and center.
Just seeing your face blasted all over the news was crazy.
Kowalski, who still values fitness to work as a police officer, no longer models on Instagram. He's now a father of 2 girls. So the association with a child exploitation case and a murder investigation of 2 teens is especially troubling.
I got a young daughter, about 1 year and 4 months old, and my other daughter's 10, so she's coming up on the social media age. Soliciting videos from young girls, like, that's disgusting, and it makes me sick. But to know that 2 young girls possibly lost their life because of my picture, it's the worst of the worst. How you just keeps you up at night as a parent, knowing that people are out there like that.
So I'm looking at this. How many times did this man get spoofed? That's like several accounts. He was using his picture from younger days when he was a model. Like I said, he's a police officer in Alaska now. Imagine, mind you, it's not the most tragic thing in this story, how you would feel that these girls could have possibly been lured to their death using your identity.
That's sad. And it's scary.
Anyone that thinks it's cute to make a sock account and pretend to be someone else, and it's done all the time. All the time. It's
Scary.
extremely dangerous.
Scary world we live in.
It is. Nothing more dangerous than a keyboard nowadays.
Now, this is the first time that Kowalski's modeling photos have been stolen and used by a bogus account. In fact, it's happened for years. Our coverage continues tonight at 6 o'clock. His frustration with catfishers and the change he would love to see from social media companies to help stop them for good.
ID would help.
Yeah.
If your children have an account, you use your
Finally,
ID.
y'all, I am in therapy. I've always heard people say that going to...
Didn't mean to do that. If your children want a Facebook account or whatever, you use your ID. Someone's got to be held accountable. What happened to these girls, we don't know details because they won't put them out. They're like, only the suspect will know. Only the suspect will know. But it's often described as heinous, brutal. So whatever happened was horrific. And I hate to put this picture in your mind, so trigger warning. Whether it was Ron, Keegan's dad, or whoever, couldn't have killed both girls at one time.
I don't even want to think about that.
Nope. So one witnessed the other's murder.
Definitely.
And I know people, they get really mad about that whole show your ID to get a Facebook account and all that stuff. Look what happens when people take other people's pictures and pretend to be them. It doesn't mean that you have to use your driver's license as your profile picture.
I'm not tech savvy, but you need to put your things on private and only friends can see them. Your photos, your account, lock them down.
And on top of that, yeah, private. Kids don't understand that. And
I don't understand that.
No, kids don't understand that. So they see this good-looking teenage boy that's flirting with them. And, well, you saw the one girl. She invites him over to the house. My parents aren't home. I'll be off the bus at this time. Next thing you know, there's a big old dude in a ski mask peeping through her bedroom window. That's not who she'd been talking to.
That's who she'd been talking to, but that's not who she thought she was talking to.
Nope. And that's how it goes. Katrina said, Brooks, unfortunately, by not clearing RL when they find and charges brought, the defense attorney can blame RL and he could be found innocent. Yeah, because he's not alive now. Nightwolf said, ID won't help because there's plenty of fake IDs online and on the streets. Yeah, and who the hell would get a fake ID just to get a damn Facebook account? You know?
Good point. Unless you're into this stuff.
Miss Robin, she's right. A connection was made that Anthony Schott's account liked one of Libby's photos. They didn't know who they were communicating with. Didn't know. So this is Perverto Keegan talking from the jail. Get ready because it's insane. Okay?
All right.
I feel like I'm being harassed.
Did you have anything to do?
Okay, all right.
Oh my goodness.
Right there. Start right there. Okay, so there's the bridge, which just is very creepy to me. Nothing against it. It's just what happened. Okay. I feel like I'm being harassed. 30 felonies. No one's harassing you.
No.
You did bad.
Disgusting.
This is not personal, Keegan.
I just can't. He's harassed.
Mom divorce. You're right. It was so much simpler when people had to call your house and ask your parents to speak to you. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Hogging the phone till 8 o'clock at night was much easier than what's going on now.
Deal with the murders of Abby or Libby?
Not at all. And I've gave up my DNA, a hair follicle test. I've done everything they wanted me to.
In December, Delphi investigators announced that catfish account Anthony Schatz was active on Instagram and Snapchat in 2016 and 2017, and they asked for anyone who interacted with that profile to come forward. But more than a year ago, then 26-year-old Keegan Klein admitted to investigators that he was behind the fake profile and that he used it to ask young girls for nude pictures and videos. Tell me about Anthony.
So how is he being harassed? Okay, he admits that he took this man's pictures from when he was much younger and he was a model to set up this fake profile to talk to underage girls for nudes, conversation, meet up, whatever. So why does he claim to be the victim?
Yeah, and he gave up his stuff that he didn't, his DNA. Excuse me, I don't think he had a choice.
No. Hello, Justice for All. Miss Robin, parents need to be snooping more. I had a question from a sub the other day. We were talking, one of the members, talking about things that her daughter looks at online, and I'm like, it wasn't that way when my boys were growing up. They're grown men now, but maybe there's got to be some sort of program or something where you can track what they're doing on their phone.
There is, but I don't know what it is.
I wouldn't know. My kids are grown.
I don't know how to set it up.
Mm-mm.
Shots. Why did you create that profile?
I don't really know. I was just lonely, you know what I mean?
He knows exactly why he created that profile. That's the reason he was talking to these girls, underage girls, mind you, underage girls with a fake picture. And do you guys think that he was the peeping Tom outside the house?
Oh, I do.
You do? Okay. Do you guys think he was the peeping Tom outside the house, looking through the window? Mind you, he had been looking up the girl's family and everything like that on Facebook the day before.
Too many coincidences.
But he's being harassed. Don't we love it when these pervos say they're being harassed?
Funny how he doesn't, think that the officer who he stole the pictures from is being harassed.
That man is very distraught, just thinking about the fact if Keegan is responsible for these heinous crimes, that it was his picture that lured those girls out there.
He's the one who's being harassed.
Mind you, it's not the most tragic thing in this case, but it's something that haunts him. He's got children of his own. Ugh.
Just talking to people. I don't know why I did it, really.
And were you ever trying to meet these girls in real life that you were talking to?
No, never.
Just 11 days after the murders of Abby and Libby, task force investigators served a search warrant on the home that Keegan shared with his dad. At the time, the FBI told the Lafayette Journal and Courier they found nothing to indicate a connection to the Delphi case. Keegan's electronics were confiscated then, but he wasn't arrested until 3 years later. He's now facing 30 counts of child pornography and child solicitation in Miami County, Indiana, unrelated to the Delphi murders. He says, though, that Indiana State Police told him Anthony Schatz had been communicating with Libby before her murder. So why do you think investigators are putting so much focus on you right now?
I have not a clue. Because I think it's because they said I was the last person to talk to her, is what they've told me.
And then she shows up at the bridge and they're...
That's a good reason, Keegan.
Yeah.
That's a good reason. You were the last person to talk to her. She shows up at the bridge and the two girls are found the next day. That's a good reason, but you're being harassed. Now, again, he's on the screen right now. It's hard to look at him. He's sick. But he doesn't look like this person.
No, he doesn't.
They don't have the same build to me. Now, mind you, it's not the best photograph, but they don't look like the same person. I think that's the reason 5 years later, there's no arrest. Lisa, oh my, last person to talk to her is the last person she saw. If this is the last person they saw, that's what I'm confused about. This guy doesn't look like Keegan Klein.
No.
He doesn't have anywhere near the same build. Keegan has a very full face. This guy doesn't. But this guy also doesn't look 77 years old to me. I've blown it up a million times. I don't see a white mustache or anything. And when they did the news interview in 2017 with Ron, he had a silver mustache.
Yeah.
If you take a screenshot, put it on your phone and open it up, you don't see a silver mustache. Brooke said, looks like his dad. Moni
Do you
said,
have a picture of his dad?
looks like Tony. Erica, you're right. His wording is key. He says, I was the last person to chat with him. He admits to it. He admits to it.
They're abducted and later found dead.
Right.
And that was not you.
No, 100% not.
Keegan says he has no memory or knowledge of communicating with Libby, and investigators haven't confirmed if what he says is true. Do you think you're going to be charged with anything related to Abby and Libby's murder?
No, I don't.
So the state police haven't threatened that?
No.
Welcome to MTV's Stan vs. Stan, the internet game show where hardcore fans flex their knowledge on their favorite artists.
Ridiculous. Sorry about that. Okay. So he admits that he was talking to Libby. He admits all this. I still don't think he looks like the guy on the bridge.
He doesn't.
He doesn't.
Of course, that video that you showed of him was recent. He could have put on weight.
He could have put on weight. Yep. He could have been much thinner in 2017. That's true. Okay, Mom to Force said on the MS podcast, Forensic Keegan said he's gained a lot of weight in 5 years. How the hell do you eat with all this going on? How are you going to gain weight? I would think he would have lost 50 pounds.
You would think.
Mm-hmm. Crazy. And he's so matter of fact. I was the last one to talk to him. I talked to him. Oh.
He doesn't strike me as very intelligent, but he's septabby, so I don't know.
Jamie said he resembles the second sketch. Yeah, I think he does too to me. And if he gained a lot of weight, which could be on purpose, let's think about that. Because I have a feeling when the picture came out that they had video of the day, and the last person they came across, Tamara, you're right, very disengaged toward it emotionally. He's not getting out of jail anytime soon with his 30 felonies, and well, Ron Logan is dead. So let's get to Ron Logan real quick. You guys decide, are both involved? Just one? Don't forget, Ron faked an alibi for the day.
Yeah, he did.
Also, does Keegan sound like the voice? That's
I
another.
don't think so.
I don't think he sounds like the voice.
The voice sounds like Ron, in my opinion.
Yeah. It's in the FBI even said the voices were not inconsistent, meaning it could be his voice. Kamari said, I think just Tony and Keegan. Happy Hoggus said no. Erica said yes. It's going to be very interesting. When the detective said, when you know what we know, I guess then it's all going to make sense.
I wish that day would come soon.
I imagine that the families do too, because their lives will never be the same. Ever, 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 ever. They'll never be the same. And here, these are people that basically just told people happy birthday on Facebook before.
Yeah.
You know, put up pictures of birthday parties. They've got perfect strangers reaching out to them going, why did you let those girls go out there alone? Why didn't you monitor who they were talking to? Who the hell are you?
Stop it. That's
Who
just
the hell are you to come out and play perfect parent with what they're going through? I hate that.
Maddening.
It is. It's like, do you not have anything thumping in your chest? Okay, so last week, as we were talking about, more came out about Ron. Here's someone else that probably is somewhere involved because the FBI very early on were focused on him. And mind you, in all of this, other people have been persons of interest. So they've got to knock all these people out of the way to get to who really did it.
News 8 at 5 starts now.
We begin at 5 o'clock with IT Mate and the stunning new revelations in the Delphi murders.
IT Mate broke the news about an FBI search warrant and new details about the crime scene and what the killer may have taken from the property. Tonight, we're piecing together new information about the man targeted in that search warrant, Ronald Logan. I want to bring in IT Mate's Demi Johnson now, who has been following this story since day one. Demi, this search warrant shows police early on, they had suspicions about Ronald Logan.
Yeah, Phil and Alexis, this FBI search warrant is only 9 pages long, but it provides surprising new detail on the crime scene in Carroll County and why investigators began to question the possible role of Ronald Logan, who owned the land where the girls were found.
You can see Ronald Logan here on his property in this video shot by Wish TV in 2017, just days after the murders of Abby Williams and Libby German. By that time, the FBI says Logan had already lied to investigators about what he was doing on the day the girls disappeared.
Monday afternoon, I was in Lafayette Aquarium World getting a tropical fish for my aquarium. So when I came home, one of the neighbors stopped and asked permission to come back here and look for the missing girls, and that's the first time I knew anything about it. So I fooled with my tropical fish the whole time that the search was going on Monday night. Then they didn't find them until Tuesday, around noon or 1 or whatever it was.
Investigators believe Logan asked his cousin to lie about driving him to an aquarium store in Lafayette on the afternoon of February 13th. Police arrested Logan for violating his probation on charges of DUI and driving on a suspended license. He appeared in court March 13th on the charge. The next day, March 14th, a state police spokesperson tweeted, "Reports connecting Ronald Logan to the Delphi murders is false. Probation violation, no connection to murder investigation." But a search warrant filed by an FBI agent 3 days later, March 17th, says, "I believe there is probable cause to believe that Ronald Logan has committed the crime of murder, and evidence of that can be found on Ronald Logan's property. And that based on investigators' experience, it is reasonable to believe that the creation of an alibi prior to the discovery of a crime."
Okay, these are really, really important statements by the FBI. On top of that, where's Cuz? Where's your cousin? Where's your cousin that lied to the authorities to give you your tropical fish alibi?
But did he lie?
Yeah.
I know he was asked to lie, but I didn't know if he did lie.
Hey, Real Gone Gonzo, grab the link. I want to ask you about when you were out there. Love your work, by the way. So, based on investigators' experience, it's reasonable to believe that the creation of an alibi prior to the discovery of a crime indicates culpability or knowledge of the crime. So, he had the cousin lie for him. Went to Lafayette, to the aquarium to get tropical fish. He was messing with the fish all day because, you have to take him out and feed them and put them on their leash and walk them around the yard. So he's messing with the fish all day.
Yeah, they weren't floating in a bag in the tank.
Yeah, no, no. So you had to have an alibi. Too many shady characters. Way too many. You don't need to lie if the truth sounds good.
Indicates culpability or knowledge of the crime. Logan pleaded guilty to a new charge of being a habitual traffic violator on April 3rd, 2017. He was sentenced to 2 years in prison, a sentence that would eventually be reduced to home detention. The search warrant application reveals never before discussed details about the crime scene and how the girls were found. The agent says a large amount of blood was lost by the victims at the crime scene. The agent also says authorities found that 2 articles of clothing from one of the girls was missing from the crime scene, while the rest of their clothing was recovered. It also appeared the girls' bodies were moved and staged.
Ronald Logan has never been publicly named a suspect in Abby and Libby's murders. He's also not been charged in the case. Logan died in 2020. He was charged with a probation violation for driving with a suspended license. Now, I sent several detailed questions to Indiana State Police and was told they cannot comment on this case. Demi Johnson,
No, and they're not going to. They keep everything really close to the vest. They even put that challenge out saying he's hiding in plain sight. Only he knows what happened that day. Does the family even know what happened to the girls?
I doubt it.
And why do they keep saying 2020 when we have some articles saying 2022? I don't get it. And again, what a bitch. I mean, really, the man's dead. So, I mean, what, justice in hell? They won't even get, if he's guilty, then you don't even see, the family gets no justice.
No.
I mean, I guess it's good that they don't have to go through a trial and listen to everything, but these families seem like that they would want to see justice be done. That's just...
Yeah, and in the back of your mind, you don't know that they're just trying to close out the case and shut you up. You want proof.
You want to know. You want to know all the details. All the details. I'm going to put the link up one more time, guys. We're going to continue to discuss for a minute, and then I'm going to start shutting it down. Bubble out. Well, someone keeps trying to come backstage, and for some reason, they get disconnected really fast. Lynn said there was another man with the same name that died in 2020, but not in Indiana. Well, we're looking for the one that died in Indiana. Come on. So you've got Ron, who claims he was in Lafayette buying fish and that he was messing with these ornery fish all day. Okay, he had to dealing with the fish. All right, it's not like you went and got a new puppy, Ron. He didn't go search. He didn't know until the next day anything was really going on, even though he had been told. So where
and
was
he couldn't see the flashlights in the woods all night.
Didn't know anything was going on. Where from what I'm understanding, this was very heavily talked about. It was on the news. Of course, in a town of under 3,000 people, everybody knew. Hell, I mean, half the town was out there looking.
You're not going to tell me his animals weren't barking like crazy because people are in the woods all night. I'm not believing that.
No. Lynn said Ron's family did not put out an obituary. Good move on their part. Now, what were you saying about the girlfriend? I don't really want to put her name out here, but I don't know about the fanny pack with the gun in it, and he was very violent with her. Nothing that equates murder.
Punched her in the face and knocked her down is what she said. And that he carried a gun in his fanny pack.
Okay. Well, I got to blow the picture up again to see if I see a fanny pack. Long time no see. Real Gone Gonzo. How are you?
Hey, guys. How are you guys today?
Pretty good. So now you've been out there. You've been out to Delphi. You've been out to the trail. Tell us all about it.
Yeah. Long time no see. I haven't talked to you guys since, what was it last time? The Summer Wells case.
You came on for Gabby Petito.
Oh, yeah, that too. Yeah, I was, I think I was the first YouTuber on the scene on that deal. Yes, that was wild. Yeah, Delphi is always interesting. I go out there quite often, and I think I'm heading back out next month. I gather something new every time I go out there. I like to spend a couple days in the community, kind of being a fly on the wall, talking to locals, getting the inside scoop, and not really just interviewing people, but more being part of the scene. And it's always crazy out there.
Well, like I said, I got chills across my body just coming by the exit, because what happened to these girls, like I said, it's almost like something scripted from Hollywood. You can't
You're
make
right.
They're
True.
dropped off a little bit after 1 o'clock. Dad's back a little after 3 to pick him up. So something, according to the FBI and the newscasters, brutal and heinous happened in 2 hours.
Sure. Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
there was no communication after 2 o'clock with Libby.
Straight out of a horror film. Yes, absolutely. I agree. It's always really surreal when I get out there. I like to go on around the bridge area. The first time I went out to Ron Logan's property, I actually bumped into Ron Logan. I didn't shove a camera in his face, and I don't do that kind of work, but I like to just look into people's eyes and kind of, get a good beat on these people. And, ran into Mike Patty, a bunch of people. That community is very small. It's still just shooken up. Everything, that's coming out lately is adding, new light to the case and keeping things interesting. But gosh, I like to just go see it visually, up close in real time. And it's always just frightening. It's just scary. Super sad situation that happened to those girls. And I like to just do what I can do to help out.
Awesome work. So what was your truly awesome work? What vibe did you get from Ron Logan when you were on his property talking to him?
Well, he's a very soft-spoken man. I could tell that the world the wind, had been knocked out of that guy. Just in life kind of took him down in the last several years of his life, getting locked up. I don't know that his property wasn't in jeopardy of being taken in that time. I don't know how he kept things afloat, who he had in and on and around the property, friends and family to keep things kind of going over there. Not that he had like a lot of livestock or any vegetation going on, but just I don't know, when you're gone that long, who knows how you can maintain your livelihood and your home and your situation. I just kind of took it from him that life had kind of gotten heavy. The energy and the scene around that area, the Monon High Bridge Trail, everything. People go over there all the time. You got a lot of looky-loos. You got a lot of really, you got a lot of true crime people. You got a lot of YouTubers out there, and you get that kind of traffic. And I just think it takes it out of people, you see that in a lot of different cases as well. But I just feel that whole community is still in shambles, and they're not going to get over it until we got some justice, right?
Right. Until they can say it was him alone.
Absolutely.
Or actual charges are put on someone, whether it's Keegan and his dad, or who knows, someone else might pop up. Because remember, these suspicions were brought up in 2017, not last week.
Exactly.
Now,
He was one of the very first.
I've had several people, when I put the show up, I think it was Monday that I was doing this today.
Mhm.
And I've had emails and then today in chat saying they're talking about funding for the Delphi bridge and all that money's gone, that his property he was going to lose it. People were trying to buy it, things like that. And they're like, follow the money, et cetera, et cetera. I get real estate deals and everything, but what would the girls have to do with that? Their families were in no way a part of it. And they were talking to Keegan the day before. They showed up a little after 1, possibly came across Ron.
Possibly. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I don't know what kind of skin in the game the girls would have with that. And I don't know, I guess you've heard everything, right? In this case, you've seen all these POIs, you've seen everybody's theories. You've just kind of heard it all, right? Just from all the coverage. I can't say definitely like exactly what the girls, had to do with anything. It could have been a chance encounter. It could have been a drive-by trucker. It could have been anybody, of course. And we keep everything open. We're really open-minded in this thing. But yeah, there is a lot of, Carroll County corruption. That's a real big thing over there between the sheriff's department. Some of the former Judge Fouts. There's all kinds of stuff that's going on in Carroll County that is dark and dirty. We always got to say follow the money. I don't weigh in too heavy on anything. I like to weigh in on everything. So the corruption over there is real. I've seen that firsthand. I've seen a lot of the trafficking and some of the situations that were going on around the Monon High Bridge with some video making. You name it, and it's got some evil dark forces tied to it in Carroll County. And that's the sad part. And that says it could be anybody. It could be anything. It could be any entity. And that's just the truth of it. So.
And as far as the corruption in a small town, they didn't really stand a snowball's chance in hell because the state troopers grabbed the ball.
True. Yes. Yeah, it was snowballed out of, it was in trouble from the get-go. I always say in cases like this, the dice was loaded from the start.
And that lead detective, Doug Carter, I believe his name is, he's not giving up. It's personal almost for him. When he had that press conference and he was putting out the sketches and he said he's hiding in plain sight. That gave me chills. Have you ever come across him when you're in Delphi? Uh-oh, I think he cut out.
I don't know.
Well, he was driving. We might have lost him. He's still connected, though.
I think I'm still here.
Oh, there he is.
There he is. Nope, now you're muted.
Oh, how about now?
All good.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I've spoken to people underneath Doug Carter. He's a real good person. I believe that he's doing everything in his power. I believe that they are still working on it. they've got a lot more corruption to deal with over there. And as we've seen, and as we've talked about in other cases, sometimes the corruption in the area is actually bigger than the case or the act of what happened to a missing person or a murdered, or a victim. It's like the corruption outweighs some of the acts itself that brought us here to these cases. And that's truly sad that I see. I mean, I see it all over the country. This is, I think, one of the cases I've been working on. I'm seeing the most corruption in Carroll County. It's scary, and that's all I can really say about that part. But gosh, we just keep plugging away at it, don't we?
Yeah. Yeah. And what's really sad about that is anywhere law enforcement in that town goes, if they're truly behind something or hiding something, I don't know. I don't work in that department, if you know what I mean.
Sure. Yeah.
They have to, in a tiny town, population, what is it? Look at my note. 2,961 in 2020.
Yep.
They come across Libby's grandparents very often. Hell, they
Absolutely.
were at CrimeCon. They were
Yep.
interviewed by many people. They have
True.
to come across Abby's mother very often. Let's not forget Libby's sister, Kelsey. They come across these people, and they're not going to stop. They've been on Dr. Oz. They've
Yep.
been on Dr. Phil. I mean, you name it. This story's not going away. So
Absolutely. And and that's all they can do in a town of 3,000 people. You're under a microscope, and now we as creators, as YouTubers, as public servants in different lights, we put this case out to millions, to at least thousands, to millions across the world. And that puts a lot of pressure on local law enforcement and these bureaus to do everything that they got to do and everything in their power to make this right. The community wants justice, we want justice, the family wants justice. And I think that the clock is ticking. The great thing is everybody's keeping this case in the light, and that's what I mean by plugging away. We just got to get up, dress up, show up, and do what we can every day as creators, as people that can raise awareness, voices for the voiceless. That's kind of what we can do out here. And I appreciate you guys covering this case. That's what we can do. And I'm going to be here again.
we appreciate your hard work. Hey, will you send me an email? I know we've chatted on email several times before when you're going to go back out there.
Yep. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'm going to be back out there next month. I might be taking Perry Freeman, Cop Facts, and his creative mind. He used to work law. He was basically Colorado Springs homicide detective for a long time. He's got a lot of skin in the game on the Delphi case as well. So I got a small team that's going to be working with me out that way. We're going to get some new eyes on things and just kind of see what we can do to help out. As well as if we bump into the right people, show respect. We do everything tactfully and, with respect, and we damn sure don't monetize and try to gain off these cases. We really just try to help out and stay out of the way of law enforcement, but also do what we can as caring individuals that really want to make a difference. So yeah, I'll definitely shoot you a holler. It's always good to catch up with you guys. So
awesome. Well, thanks for everything you're doing advocating for the victims. You're the real deal, my friend.
Well, thank you. Yeah, like I said, I'll be out here again. I got a little bit more work to do in Rogersville, Tennessee. I think we talked about that before, and I'm always on the Morphew case in Colorado.
Yeah, what do you think about old Barry getting out, getting
Yeah,
away or whatever?
it's pretty interesting. He just had a Skype court meeting this morning because he still has some charges. He voted for Suzanne. He voted for Donald Trump with Suzanne's name. So he does have a couple charges still pending. That's going to come up next month. But yeah, we keep an eye on Barry out here in Colorado. And it's interesting. It's closed down some of my search, hot spots for my searching, but we're still out here plugging away. We're trying to get some ground penetrating radar and some LiDAR support to kind of be able to look under the soil. But other than that, we're just same thing, is if we can get somewhere to help out and really do some hard searching and put boots on the ground, that's kind of where I want to be with it. So I'll keep you posted on all of the above. So I'm always here. So I appreciate you guys.
Let me know. I'm always available. I'm easy to get a hold of. When I get an email, I usually respond really fast.
Yeah, you guys are great. Yeah, I'm a big fan. I always come in, and sometimes I don't chat or jump into the chat, but sometimes I like to swing in and say hi and show my respect and love towards what you guys are doing. And I think it's a good service, and you guys keep it classy. So I appreciate it.
All right. Thanks. Keep up the good work.
Okay, we'll talk soon. Thanks, chat. Thank you, everybody.
Be careful out there, okay?
Awesome. Sounds good. Thank you. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye, hon. Yeah, great guy. I love talking to him. I just do.
He has some interesting stuff to say, that's for sure.
That's for sure. Yeah. Always very knowledgeable about these cases. We get people that come in, I don't mean in this community, but in others, and it's just like, how'd you get teeth on your ass? Because that's what you're talking out of. You don't even know what you're talking about.
Exactly.
Well, Susan, love you, my friend. Thanks for coming up.
Not a problem, dear.
Talking about the case, and we're going to keep. We've got more coming up talking about Delphi. Like I said, I thought years ago when they came up with the picture that it was going to be a sealed deal, and I kept thinking, how long can this possibly go on? I think there's a lot more to it, and we're going to continue talking about it. All right?
You have a good day, guys.
You too, my friend. I'll see you in Discord.
All right. Bye-bye.
Hey, guys, I want to thank Susan for coming up and going through all these news clips and trying to sort through what is what, considering, we don't have the case file. All we can do is put together what they give us. And since, you guys are the best community and chat on YouTube, I think we do it famously. Want to thank The Real Gone Gonzo for coming up. Always a great conversation. Super cool dude. Super cool dude. Love when he comes up. And all of you, thanks for being here every morning. Rain or shine. A lot of you never miss a show. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. These cases should never be buried. We should keep on and keep on and keep on. So in the meantime, I'll see you over in Discord. I'll see you in the Facebook group. If I miss you there, I'll see you tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. We also have a members live tomorrow, so make sure you mark your calendars for that. See you guys in a little bit. Bye-bye.